Welcome to United Network News, the official news channel for CARE, the Center for Amity and Restoration of Earth. I'm Sunny Galt. At UNN, you get the real news. Through our field messengers, we show you the truth about what's really taking place in our communities. We also bring you stories to help you remember who you are and why you're here, as well as regional stories that impact the people. And our World Situation Report reveals what's happening throughout the multiverse. We are here to restore Earth. In the U.S., it is Friday, May 3rd, 2024. Have you ever gone food foraging in the wild? Nature provides lots of different types of food, if you know where to find it. Then we'll take you step by step through the process of building a wicking bed for a vegetable garden. It's a self-watering system that plants can access as they need it. Thinking about changing your eating habits? We've got 5 simple tips to help you on your way. In London, cab drivers are suing the ride-sharing app Uber. They say their practices led to unfair competition in the UK market. And Iran is taking some heat due to its strict dress codes for women. Public unrest has led to increased violence, arrests, and fines.
This is Calen, messenger for United Network News. Here's a look at today's field messenger reports from all around the world. Food foraging in the wild will provide us with a variety of organic food. UNN field messenger Annette shares her knowledge of edible foods from her region.
Hi, my name is Annette. I'm from ADC Harrison, BC. I'm a field messenger for United Network News, and I thought I'd share a really interesting story on food that is for free, possibly in your community if you look. I'm walking my friend's dog, and we've been following this walnut tree a lot of the summer to see how it's doing this year. It's quite abundant, and it's all for free. It's in a local park, and we're harvesting walnuts. That's what they look like. And you dry them out and you crack them. I'm looking forward to it. Apple walnut cake sounds pretty good for Kim's birthday. I'm currently walking a trail in Harrison Mills, BC, looking for food in the forest and abundance. And I'm going to show you a really cool tree that has licorice. This you can put in your mouth. It's licorice. Very unusual for this time of year to have blackberries to eat. In ancient medicine, licorice fern was used to relieve severe arthritis, sprains, among other things. You simply pick the leaves and soak them in a steam bath and put them to your affected area. There's lots of mushrooms. I'm learning about mushrooms, medicinal, healthy, nutritional. Sure if those are. So much beauty and abundance. Thought I'd share. I hope you get out and enjoy nature, and always remember there is abundance, you just gotta look for it.
A wicking bed is a self-contained garden bed that creates a water reservoir underneath the soil. So rather than having to irrigate it by watering from above, the water literally comes up into the soil from below, keeping it nice and moist. UNN field messenger Helen shows us how she built her wicking garden.
Hello, beautiful beings. This is Field Messenger Helen reporting with Nature for United Network News. I'm going to show you the building of my new vegetable garden. So I've begun here by mapping out the beds I'd like to put in, and I've looked at the shade over time, and there's a door to into the kitchen there, so of course that's a perfect arrangement. It's beginning to take shape. got all the string lines to get the levels right, because for the wicking bed to work, you need a completely level base, because, of course, if it's deeper at one end, the water's going to pool there, and you want an even depth of water for the plant to draw up by capillary action through the soil. Here's the wicking bed liner laid out, hopefully in the sun. Here's the bed framed up, and this water potable rubber paint put on there just to reduce or increase the life of the timber. The potable water plastic liners have gone in, and here's the outflow, because as you can imagine, when there's plenty of rain, you need to be able to release it, and this will swivel down when there's too much water. Here's the rock beginning to go in. Here's the geo material to separate the soil and stones. Here's my finished wicking beds. They're a tremendous success, and they can just drink from the little tube, from the reservoir at the bottom, and I keep an eye on the tube, but they drink what they need. So each plant is taking what it needs, drawing it up from the water reservoir up through the soil. It's an excellent system. Okay, thanks. Bye.
We want you to become a UNN field messenger. These are everyday people just like you who want to make a difference in their community. You don't need any special training or equipment. Just use the camera on your mobile phone and show us what's happening in your area. You send us your videos, and our production team will create the report for you. Our new website is now up and running at unitednetwork.earth. You can submit your Field Messenger reports directly through the Field Messenger tab at the top of the page. You can also email your reports to our new email address at fieldmessenger@unitednetwork.earth.
Hey, I'm Kirsten from Switzerland.
This is Wayne from Tucson.
Hi, my name is Desmond from Ghana.
I am Claudia from Dawsonville, Georgia.
I'm Mikey from Pretoria, South Africa.
Hi, I'm Steve McGrath, Fort McMurray, Alberta, Canada.
People from all around the world are coming together.
Happy day, beautiful world. We are here in a rather small urban garden, and this video is just to show you the joys that we've had in this garden with the electric gardening.
When news happens in their area, they show us what's really going on.
We have people in the streets protesting for and against.
At United Network News, our field messengers are changing the face of news.
This is Field Messenger Helen reporting with nature, and I'm going to talk to you about the bees again.
Take the next step in restoring our planet. Become a UNN field messenger today.
Hi, I'm Stephanie from South Africa. If it's going to be, it's up to me.
If it's going to be, it's up to me.
It's up to me.
It's up to me. It's up to me.
It's up to me.
It's up to all of us. We're UNN, and we're taking back the news.
As our planet gets lighter and lighter, so will our perspective on the food we choose to eat. Some of us may even choose to change our eating habits based on new information we learn. Inga Lightly is a healthy food coach. She and her husband have a YouTube channel called Health Origins, where they help people transform their eating habits by becoming more mindful. So Inga is on the news with us today. Welcome, Inga. And Inga's got a great YouTube channel you guys can check out. Inga, I've been following your work, and you talk a lot about living naturally. I want to talk specifically about ways to change your eating habits. And I know you've talked about this on your channel before. So we have a tendency to have kind of a love-hate relationship with food. And, sometimes we love what we're eating, but then we don't necessarily like what it does to our body. So if we do want to make these changes and we want to make them in the best way possible, what are your recommendations for that?
Okay, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
So I have 5 tips. I mean, there's obviously a lot to talk about here, but I thought I'll give you 5 tips and keep it simple, and hopefully, people can take some takeaways, take some notes from this.
Yeah.
So first of all, it's hard to change something if you don't know exactly what you're doing. Okay, so that's why tip number 1 would be to keep a food diary for at least a week.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's a really great tip wherever you start, to just notice what you're doing and notice those patterns. So, having a food diary will help you to see when you're snacking, what you're snacking on, and, what's your food, what are your habits, regular things around your food. So yeah, so that's number 1. Okay. So tip number 2, because we probably know what we should be doing, and we probably have a lot of habits that we want to tweak, right? But the important thing is to tackle only one habit at a time. So that's another very important tip, because if you start changing like 3, 4, 5 different habits at a time, you will just overwhelm yourself and actually end up not changing any of them. So that's why that's very, very important. So look at your patterns from that food diary in the tip number 1, and then, take and look what's your keystone habit. So I talk on my videos about keystone habits. Keystone habits is one habit that can perhaps influence all others. So for me, as an example, so people can understand easier, a keystone habit is, for example, eating slower, right? So I eat very fast. And when you eat fast, you basically have a higher chance of overeating, because it takes 15 minutes for signal from the stomach, to reach your brain to signal that you are full, right? So that's why, slowing down can actually impact you not overeating, because if you slow down, then basically, you will probably give yourself enough time to get that signal from your stomach to your head to signal that you're full. So yeah, so choose one habit and look at changing that, not a few at a time, just one at a time. Number 3 is, not only are we wanting to remove that, old habit, but also we want to replace it with something healthy, right? So that's number 3. Okay, because if we say, okay, well, we'll stop snacking junk foods and try and go cold turkey, as they say, then you might not be successful, because you're so used to snacking at particular times of the day. It's so habitual for you that if you try and remove it completely, then you're probably not going to be very successful. So that's why it's important to, instead of removing the unhealthy habit, to actually replace it with a healthy habit instead. So if you were, for example, snacking on, chocolates or some sweet treats, donuts and things like that, then maybe replace it with dates or fruit, fresh fruit. So something healthier that still gives you that sweet sensation and that taste, but it's actually much, much better for you. Tip number 4 is to attach it to already existing habits. Okay, so because you with all the will in the world, you might want to do it and kind of really are up for changing something, but if you forget, if you don't get into that pattern where you have either a reminder or attach it to another habit, so that's a very useful thing to do. So if, for example, think about, if you want to hydrate yourself more, so you think, oh, I need to drink more water, right? So that's a new healthy habit. You want to, or maybe your unhealthy habit was drinking sodas and you want to replace it with more, water. So what you could do, right, you could attach it to a habit you're already doing, like brushing your teeth. And now the final 5th tip would be that basically if you already started changing one habit, don't don't add another habit until this one has established. So I would say at least 21 days. So there's like studies shown that you need to do a new habit for at least 21 days for it to kind of become a little bit semi-automatic and, new neural pathways forming in your brain. So yeah, don't start another, don't add another healthy habit until this one, you kind of mastered.
And speaking of eating healthy, bananas are a powerhouse of nutritional benefits that promote health and fight disease. The natural fruit sugars in bananas are accompanied by essential minerals like potassium and trace elements, including manganese and selenium, making them far more beneficial than processed sugars found in sweets. These minerals support critical bodily functions, including neurotransmitter activity vital for brain health. Bananas are rich in amino acids and antioxidants, contributing to electrolyte production, disease prevention, and emotional well-being. In addition to being a source of vitamins, bananas also offer significant antiviral properties, combat sleep disorders, anxiety, and depression due to their high tryptophan content. Bananas are particularly effective against digestive issues such as colitis and IBS. They also have the ability to stabilize blood sugar and enhance intestinal health. Adding bananas to one's diet can be a simple yet impactful step toward a balanced and nutritious lifestyle. Blessed thistle is a medicinal herb traditionally used for centuries for better digestion and perhaps much more. New research from Germany shows a compound in blessed thistle has the potential to promote functional nerve regeneration. The study demonstrates the compound in blessed thistle accelerates growth in the long thread-like part of the nerve cell. Animal models and human cell studies reveal promising results, showing significant improvement of paralysis and neuropathy when given the compound. Further human clinical studies are underway to explore its full potential. The German researchers aim to pave the way for innovative therapies in repairing damaged nervous systems, offering hope for improved patient outcomes. Yoko Sen, a Japanese classically trained musician, had a vision to transform the sound environment in medical facilities worldwide. She was disturbed by the noises she experienced in the hospital as a long-term patient. Since then, she has embarked on a mission to humanize the hospital by improving its soundscape. She created Sen Sound, a design studio that produces recordings that soften and harmonize existing noises in medical facilities. After research and personal interviews, Yoko found the sounds of nature were the most healing and soothing. She then created gentle compositions that sounded like waterfalls or raindrops, chimes, or trees moving in the wind, and integrated these into noise-making machines. Today, Sen Sound collaborates with hundreds of hospitals, clinics, and medical device companies to create quieter and more comforting hospital visits. We are United Network News. Every day, we release real stories from real people all over the world.
Field Messenger reporting from Gold Coast, Australia,
Denmark,
Canada,
Uganda,
from Atlanta, in Southern California.
In their own words, people like you share what's really happening in their area. At UNN, you are the news. You are creating a new world with infinite possibilities. You are the restoration plan. Come join us for the real news every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, only on United Network. We're UNN, and we're taking back the news. In Turkey, police used tear gas and rubber bullets against thousands marching for May Day, which is also known internationally as Labor Day. Authorities detained at least 210 participants. Labor Day demonstrations worldwide demanded improved pay, working conditions, and expressed political grievances. In France, protests turned violent, with police firing tear gas and 29 arrests reported as unions threatened strikes against inadequate summer work compensation. Economic crisis and labor rights were central themes, with countries like Nigeria facing soaring inflation and Greece advocating for restored labor rights. In Asia, South Korea criticized the government's anti-labor policies, while Japan rallied for wage increases. Indonesia and the Philippines saw demands for migrant worker protections and wage hikes. Pro-Palestinian support also emerged as a significant theme, with demonstrators from Greece to South Africa expressing solidarity. German police, in a collaborative effort with agencies from Albania, Bosnia, Kosovo, and Lebanon, have dismantled what is believed to be the largest call center scam operation in Europe. The crackdown, named Operation Pandora, was initiated after an incident involving a senior citizen, prompting an investigation into a suspicious call center. The operation led to the raiding of 12 call centers on April 18th, resulting in the arrest of 21 individuals involved in various roles within the scam network. The network deceived victims by impersonating officials, threatening legal action, or promising fake rewards to trick them out of their savings. The successful police action prevented more than 10 million euros in potential damages from thousands of attempted fraud cases. Authorities also seized more than 1 million euros in cash and assets during the raids. More than 10,000 drivers of black cabs in London and UK have initiated a 250 million pound or more than $300 million lawsuit against Uber. The lawsuit claims Uber operated unlawfully between 2012 and 2018. The drivers argue Uber's practices, which involved direct bookings via their app, contrary to local private hire regulations, resulted in unfair competition, affecting their livelihoods. They seek compensation for lost income, suggesting individual drivers could receive £25,000 or more than $30,000 if successful. Uber says the lawsuit lacks merit, affirming their legal operation and licensing in London. This case adds to Uber's legal challenges, including a recent settlement in Australia, where drivers contested Uber's market conduct. Also in the UK, universities are struggling with severe financial challenges, leading to course closures and job cuts across more than 50 institutions, impacting both staff and students. The crisis, attributed to a decade-long freeze in tuition fees and diminishing international student numbers, threatens the sector's sustainability and the 385,000 jobs it supports. Government pledges of financial aid fall short of addressing the root issues, with university leaders calling for urgent action to prevent the loss of student services and opportunities. The situation is aggravated by aggressive cost-cutting measures, including voluntary redundancy programs with more than £100 million or more than $125 million spent on severance payouts from 2022 to 2023. Tighter immigration policies have also contributed to the decline in overseas student visa applications, straining resources further and demoralizing the academic community. China has announced plans to revise its national defense education law. This revision aims to intensify military training within educational institutions, ranging from universities to middle schools, and even introduce basic military education to primary school students. This move is part of China's response to changing global dynamics amid economic challenges and rising geopolitical tensions. Critics argue it might fuel nationalism and sway young Chinese toward the military, despite high youth unemployment. The push includes forming militias in companies and state firms to prepare the public for potential military actions. This initiative aligns with tighter national security and a tougher stance on Taiwan, reinforcing China's military recruitment drive amid a struggle to attract educated youth. Iran has seen a significant increase in public unrest due to the enforcement of strict dress codes for women, including the compulsory wearing of the hijab. Thousands across Iran have taken to the streets advocating for women's rights and freedom. The government has responded with increased violence and crackdowns, including arrests, fines, and the imposition of stricter dress code laws. The Supreme Leader's emphasis on the compulsory hijab has led to increased street patrols by the morality police. Women's rights activists and protesters are being targeted, with many facing unlawful detentions, confiscation of personal assets, and exclusion from public life. Despite the threats, many women continue to defy this dress code, signaling the significant challenge to the Islamic Republic Authority and a push for societal change. In Cambodia, a significant number of Chinese real estate ventures have stalled, leading to the presence of hundreds of uncompleted projects. This situation emerged following a substantial investment influx, which initially fueled a construction boom. However, the COVID-19 pandemic significantly impacted these developments, with investors withdrawing and leaving behind numerous ghost buildings. Authorities estimate it would take $1.1 billion to complete these stalled developments. The local government is attempting to revive the city by offering tax incentives and easing permit applications, yet the global economic slowdown poses further challenges. The shift has prompted calls for economic diversification and less reliance on a single foreign investor base to stabilize the community and economy. In Perth Hills, Australia, residents and orchardists express growing concerns about Coca-Cola Euro-Pacific Partners extracting thousands of liters of groundwater for its bottled water. The practice, ongoing for more than 20 years, has escalated anxiety amidst Perth's record dry spell, the worst in nearly 150 years. Orchardists highlight the absence of regular monitoring and consultation with the local community on the effects of water extraction. With groundwater levels dropping, some residents have had to drill boreholes for irrigation. Local authorities claim they have no regulatory oversight over water extraction, leading to calls for stricter reviews and focusing on local water needs over bottling activities. The community is pushing for a reassessment of water extraction limits and better monitoring to protect their environment and livelihoods. In Papua New Guinea, the largest Pacific island nation, a report highlights a critical human capital crisis, stressing the urgent need for education prioritization. Economic growth slowed to 2.7% last year, affected by project delays and reduced production in key sectors. Nearly half of the country's children experience stunted growth due to malnutrition, which severely affects brain development, ranking it 5th globally for stunted growth rates. The education sector struggles with 70% of grade 5 students unable to read at their level due to delayed school starts, poor infrastructure, and a lack of resources like textbooks. Absenteeism amongst inadequately trained teachers aggravates the problem, affecting students' learning outcomes. The report's recommendations call for immediate action to improve educational facilities and resources. The people of Chagos, an island in the Indian Ocean, are reporting alterations to their identity documents by Mauritius, another local island. This appears to be an assertion of its claim over the disputed Chagos Islands, historically owned by Britain. Many islanders forcibly relocated in the 1960s to facilitate a U.S. military base have since settled in Britain, Mauritius, and Seychelles. Recently, however, new passports and birth certificates issued by Mauritius and Seychelles have omitted individuals' birthplaces or incorrectly listed them as Mauritius, erasing their ties to the Chagos Islands. This act complicates their UK citizenship qualifications granted in 2002 to those born on the islands or their descendants. Despite Mauritius's formal claims and ongoing discussions with the UK, the people of Chagos demand self-determination, fearing loss of identity in any sovereignty transfer. The UK and Mauritius's governments have yet to respond to these allegations. In Nigeria, systemic failures in healthcare highlight the dire issue of maternal mortality in the country. Organizations are calling for urgent political action and increased funding to tackle the preventable deaths of women during childbirth. An alarming number of these incidents are related to inadequate healthcare facilities and the lack of proper medical care. In response to this crisis, petitions have been filed with the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, urging the Nigerian government to fulfill its human rights obligations by implementing comprehensive national plans to safeguard maternal health. The situation highlights a broader challenge within the healthcare system, emphasizing the urgent need for reforms to ensure that women have access to the life-saving medical attention they require during pregnancy and childbirth. The national airline of Cuba has suspended its flights between Havana and Argentina, impacting passengers due to the ongoing U.S. embargo against Cuba. This decision came after Argentine oil company YPF stopped providing fuel to the airline's aircraft, adhering to U.S. sanctions. The suspension disrupted travel plans for numerous individuals as the Cuban airline's efforts to find alternative fuel sources or contract other airlines were unsuccessful. Despite attempts to negotiate a solution with Argentine transportation and aviation officials, no viable resolution was found. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Cuba criticized the measure as an extension of the U.S. blockade's extraterritorial reach and a violation of international trade norms. The Transportation Security Administration, or TSA, faces scrutiny for testing facial recognition technology at some airports. This initiative aims to improve identity checks by having travelers scan their ID, like a driver's license or passport, and then verify it against their image using a facial recognition camera. The TSA argues this method enhances identity verification accuracy without slowing down checkpoints. While passengers can opt out, TSA hints at the possibility of making biometric verification mandatory, citing its effectiveness. However, concerns about privacy, data security, and potential bias in algorithms have been raised. Critics call for clear communication about the option to refuse facial recognition and emphasize the need for strict oversight before expanding its use. Thousands of railway workers from the Canadian National Railway and Canadian Pacific Kansas City have voted to strike, potentially as early as May 22nd. This strike threatens to disrupt Canada's railway system, which is crucial for transporting key exports, including grain, potash, and coal. Union negotiations with both companies have been stalled for 6 months, with disagreements centering on rest provisions for safety and compensation structures. A mandatory 21-day federal mediation period has begun, yet resolutions seem distant. The strike could halt bulk grain shipments, severely affecting grain exports and causing ripples throughout the economy and communities dependent on these services. The Canadian government has expressed concern over supply chain impacts, urging both sides to find a resolution. The U.S. Department of Education has faced significant backlash due to technical glitches and delays in the federal application for student aid process. These issues, due to an update aimed at simplifying the form, have prevented thousands of students and their families from completing their applications. The glitches include incorrect processing of applications using outdated calculations, errors by a federal contractor, and barriers for students with parents lacking a Social Security number. Despite the department's efforts to address these problems and claims of processing more than 8 million applications, the issues have resulted in widespread frustration and uncertainty amongst prospective college students. The inefficiencies threatened the financial viability of small colleges and have prompted calls for federal emergency relief. In response, some states have taken measures to ensure students can still receive state scholarships. The U.S. Army Special Operations Command has released a new Ghost in the Machine video aimed at attracting individuals with creative and technical skills to its Psychological Operations PSYOP units. The video, part of a targeted campaign to address recruiting challenges, seeks to demystify PSYOP roles and highlight the impact of strategic communication and influence. A significant portion of psychological operation recruits are fresh applicants, with the remainder coming from within the Army. The decrease in interaction between regular soldiers and special operation forces post-Iraq and Afghanistan has hindered recruitment efforts. Early results show the video influenced more than half of the applicants to pursue a career in psychological operations.
Tired of being programmed? At United Network, you'll discover the truth about what's really happening on our planet. Get instant access to our written news, UNN newscasts, world situation reports, and in-depth stories from our field messengers. Manifest your amazing abilities as we explore the new Earth. Plus, original series to inspire and encourage you throughout your day. Get connected through United Chat, our personal chat room where you can join the conversation, share your experience, and also submit your questions for Kim. Watch United Network at home or on the go through your computer, favorite online streaming program, or mobile apps.
Welcome to United Network News.
Start your free trial today. UnitedNetwork.Earth, bringing people together.
And now, the World Situation Report with Kimberly Gogan from the Office of the Guardian. The New Deal has been laid on the table as governments and banks go bankrupt worldwide. Find out what we expect from them in order to engage. The care organization algorithms are being implemented in order to create greater security and a more interdependent world. Plus, an update on the current state of affairs as the fight between the elite and operatives worldwide continues. Now here's Kimberly Gogan with the Office of the Guardian. Hello, Kim.
Well, happy Friday.
Happy Friday. How are things going?
It's not going too bad on our side of it. We're making a lot of progress as far as moving on by ourselves. Our care algorithms are just about finished. We've installed some new operating systems for care and care projects and care programs. So we've been working on that and kind of installing a cross-reference to the Hall of Records and those types of things. So there's a lot of operating systems involved with care moving on in the future. And then of course there's some oversight stuff too, as far as monetary disbursement, what type of disbursement per type of project. Not all projects will have everything dispersed all up front, those kind of things. And then, of course, there's a little bit of oversight, stuff too. We've built in contingency funds. Contingency funds are for example, if you have a construction project that you're doing, say you're building a hotel. Yeah. And you usually build in at least 10 to 15% for what we call contingencies. As an example, your normal supplier is out of nails and you need to buy it from a different supplier and it's going to be more expensive. Or there's rain or a storm or something, and some things are destroyed in that storm and then you've got to replace them. So these are the things that you would use a contingency fund for. things you can't account for. Also, security funding for projects, because most all of our projects, at least in the interim, are going to need security. That's physical boots on the ground. Security also accounts for things like material integrity. So if you source materials, maybe you it's steel, say, for an example. We need to make sure that the specifications are correct for the usage of that steel. And even though we order those specific specifications, that doesn't necessarily mean that's what you always get from the steel manufacturer.
Yeah.
And it's a way to sabotage products. It's something that they've, projects, something that they've done for years. So we need to make sure that we're not getting, if we're ordering, say, rosemary essential oil extract or something that we're using to replace antibiotics or an antifungal or something, that if we are not distilling it ourselves, the integrity of where it's coming from, lab reports, that kind of thing, to make sure we're getting the highest quality materials of any sort for the Research and Development Center. So it's kind of like the world of supplements too. Like when you go online, you have no idea which brand to buy. You have no idea how many milligrams you need. They just say that this is good for that. But do you, it's all about the quality of the materials, that kind of stuff, of what you're getting, whether or not it actually works. So one brand may work for you and another brand may not. And it can be quite confusing. So it's going to be the same way for our project owners and our health and wellness people. We need to make sure that we are sourcing good quality. So that's part of security as well. So we're building in all of these algorithms so that when a project is submitted, we account for all of these things to ensure that CARE is doing the utmost best work possible with the resources that we have. So that's what I've been working on predominantly, is a way to move forward, not really counting on governments or deep state people. So, so that we can get funds out as quickly as possible to everyone and keep them safe. Also involved in that is some new banking algorithms, new rules to the banking system, because we need to ensure, even though perhaps, like, say, the government will not pass a law saying you cannot take money from a civilian's account, if there's no probable cause. Or maybe they pass a law that say we don't need probable cause to seize funds from a person or a company. And our algorithm, regardless of what they say, will ignore them and enforce it electronically so it's not possible. See what I'm saying? So we're having to build in our own security mechanisms right now, because we currently have no external security to ensure our success. So I took a look at the way that, for example, global headquarters, which we've talked about, and their security contracts with that are all expired now for the Order of the Black Sun for global security. But I figured out, well, security equals control, which we've talked about quite a bit. And it's not that I'm trying to control you, the people. I'm trying to control them from interfering with you. So the best way that I can do that is to build it in electronically and then use the key intelligence and military system for physical security to the best of our ability. So I'm building in all those little caveats there. And all those algorithms take time, because you have to think about everything from materials security to, to physical security to monetary security. And we're building our own rules-based system and disregarding government laws totally. So they can get on TV and talk about what they want to do, but it'll be impossible for them to enforce what they'd like to do. In 2013 in the U.S., as an example, they did pass a law that they can shut down your account because they consider you a risk, and they do not have to define why you are a risk.
Mm-hmm. Gosh, what a mess.
At all.
Yeah.
You could never have bounced a check or a payment or anything like that, and they can still just say, well, Sonny, you're a risk, and shut your accounts down.
And that's a U.S. law, although...
That is a U.S. law.
Okay.
I don't know if any other countries have adopted it. Yeah.
I was going to say, it wouldn't be hard for another country to pass the same thing if that were successful. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, starts here, goes other places.
Exactly. So if they were successful in blocking a project of care, in that way, they will not be successful in blocking a project of care, anymore in that way. So you got to take a look at all the details, all the ways that I've been affected in the past, all the things that people have done in the past to steal money from us and those types of things. Which brings us to stealing money from us. And by us, I mainly mean me. So I've been doing this now for quite a while. I had been releasing funds on a pull transaction basis, which means that a bank actually goes in, I give them an access code and a data code, and they log in and they actually pull the funds directly into the bank from Alpha.
Okay.
That system went defunct in 2018, but the very beginning of 2018. But for a time, I had pulled funds in for projects this way, all of which was pretty much stolen. And at the time, Marduk was involved in a lot of that. Then I figured out how to push funds out. And it was basically purpose-driven. I could fund governments. I got that part down. And then it's just been a struggle to get it directly to you.
Sure.
So I had to try to figure out, how to be more independent on our own over here. And CARE is now being designed to do that. But in the past, they were supposed to pay me 2%, which was the fee that we had set, for transferring of funds for budgets or for paying off debt to China or all the other things we did during all the different administrations, Obama included. We did a lot of stuff during the Obama administration as well as Trump. Now, never once have they ever paid us a dime. And this is important because I gave a new proposal today. Next, when the Chinese gave RMB or Chinese currency or Chinese yuan bonds to all the treasuries worldwide, they got what's called a haircut. And if you are unfamiliar with the term haircut, it means that if the bond face value was, say, $100 million, which they were much more than that, they would give 20% of the credit line they issued against it to the Chinese and retain 80% for, say, government budget. But they actually paid the Chinese deep state 20% or 15% or whatever it was, but not us.
Yeah.
So it's always not us. But yet they call us constantly asking for money, telling us they'll be ready on a day ending in Y. So everybody that has lent money to governments, in the beginning, in 2018, in March of 2018, we gave money to every government in the world. Now, if you go all the way back to 2012, I had actually, and I'm going to say because I had given money in 2018, I transferred it out. I did the first push transactions out of Alpha ever in 2018. I also went and assigned all of that gold and all of those bonds to governments back in 2012. And do you know how much money they have given us? That's right. The big fat zero. Empty, null, void, zippo, nothing, no thing. But yet they keep calling saying they need money.
Yeah.
So in order to avoid this untenuous situation, and this not only goes for me personally, we also have another situation of where political operatives are not getting any money from their people as well. the governments are not getting paid. The local people here that came up with a plan to fix the United States government also did not get paid to do so, even though they were told they would. Mm-hmm. So here is the new great deal. You know, I feel like I should have yellow hair and orange skin when I say that. But the new deal.
Yeah.
Okay, since we have officially, over the last decade and some change, paid out a tremendous amount of money into the banking system and into governments worldwide to the tune of hundreds of trillions of dollars. Okay, that's a fact. Mm-hmm. Here is our contingency. If you would like to do business with us, I understand you're broke and I understand you cannot pay us in cash. Okay? I get that because you need cash from me in order to function. However, you have stuff. You have lots of stuff that is government owned worldwide. Now, depending on each type of government, that stuff could be different. As an example, you know, in China, the government owns more than 50% of every single large corporation in the country. Therefore, you have stuff you can give me to pay me back for my little 2% that I asked for when I sent you all that money, China. You have things like free oil, free gas, free rare earth minerals, free computer chips, free, lots of free stuff you can give me that I want for care. Okay? And I want it for free because you owe me money. If you'd like to engage in a conversation with me, you must pay me back. You can pay me back in goods and services, and you can pay me back with a lot of stuff that you have because you have stuff. And I want stuff. Now, I don't want your fentanyl or your pharmaceuticals or any of your other crap that you have, but I want other stuff. So if you want to sit down at the table and talk about a continuance of government in China, you will bring me stuff, which I will then give to all those participating in care, which will make your projects a whole lot richer, a whole lot faster, and a whole lot more profitable, won't it? If you could get free steel, free rare earth minerals, okay, next. I understand things are different here in the United States, and the government pretty much doesn't own corporations like that. Mm-hmm. You know, they give money away for free to get political favors, you know, to large corporations. But that's not entirely true, government of the United States. You have the DEA that seizes thousands, if not millions of vehicles per annum from drug dealers all over the country. Therefore, does anybody on this call need a free car? Do anybody need a new car? Man, bet you do, don't you? And I know I need a new car, and I'm sure the locals wouldn't be unhappy here if they got a new car to engage in a 5-minute conversation. So for every hour you talk to these people here locally, you pick up the phone, you call them, and you do their head in constantly, asking for ridiculous things, you will deliver a car to Durango, Colorado to the person that you're speaking to, 1 per hour for every minute that you're talking to them. And I know you have the inventory. Matter of fact, you even have a sexy cigarette boat that I would have my eyes on. You know what a cigarette boat is, Sunny?
No, I don't.
It's one of the fastest speedboats in the world, and they are so much fun. So for when I get that vacation, I'd like to have one of those. I know you have at least 4 or 5 in your inventory because I've checked your DEA inventory. So I know what you got. Next, we have something called VA mortgage lending programs, veterans mortgage lending programs. And they are run, and we also have HUD, and most of those are run through a program called Ginnie Mae. And Ginnie Mae has, over the course of the last few years, due to our situation that was created for us, and we know what that situation was, you know, we get locked down, we get out again. And you have repossessed an enormous amount or foreclosed on an enormous amount of homes around the country, haven't you? Also commercial buildings for companies that went out of business. And you have an enormous REO or real estate owned property list for Ginnie Mae, which is a government program. So I would like that too. You can pay me in that. You can pay me in properties all around the country, which I can then share with CARE. Mm-hmm. We can make homeless shelters. We can make halfway homes for recovering addicts. We can get people off the streets. We can do lots of things with those things. We can convert them into bakeries or local shops or, you know, whatever it is you want to do. Plus, there's commercial properties in there too. So, you know what? We would be more than happy to take your real estate owned portfolio, government people. And that goes for the people when you decide to pick up the phone and call these people here locally and ask them to help you get funding for the government or force me to give money to the government. You will also pay them in some kind of thing that they want. Next, it's my understanding you have some submarines. Maybe there's someone in our group here that has a project that would benefit from the usage of a submarine. But I mean, we might like that. I know you have enormous amounts of ships. You've got Coast Guard ships. You've got all kinds of stuff we could use for fishing or feeding people or something else. But you are going to pay us, or we are not going to talk to you. So you've got inventory. Even in democratic countries, you have inventory that we want. You have fireproof planes that can fly into natural disaster areas so that we can put out fires because FEMA has no possibility of helping us whatsoever in the event of a natural disaster. So we can just take all FEMA's equipment. I mean, we don't mind. It's fine. You can't pay us in cash for our 2%, and calculate it out, folks, because that is a pretty high number. You know, it's to the tune of at least, I'd say, somewhere between $2 to $4 million, maybe up to $5 if you go worldwide, of money that we've paid out. So that's just our 2% fee. So we would like that in equipment from all of you. So if you are from the British government or the Zimbabwean government or whoever, and you'd like to call us and you would like something from me, I want something from you. You will pay us back for that money. Now, the next little caveat and fun little games that we've been installing due to this CARE algorithm can also prevent governments from receiving money from third-party sources anywhere in the world. Because you know what? Security equals control now, doesn't it?
So what would an example of that be, Kim?
Well, let's just say the Silent Circle decided to give money to the U.S. government for continuance of government, or China comes out with a new plan to issue more bonds to the Treasury Department. I can lock you down. I am your new global headquarters, not only for financial purposes, but also for telecommunications, for military systems, and other things I'm sure you would love to have. But since none of them would like to work with us, I have created it all by myself, that I can manage from the comfort of my living room. Isn't that amazing?
It really is, yeah.
You know, like I said, I got tired of waiting for people, but I have to let it get so far that before I can actually announce something like that publicly.
Okay.
But no, they're seeing it. They're seeing it bleed out. So are we going to continue to allow financial scams, fake currencies, the Hostess Twinkie to be the national currency of the Banana Republic? No, we're not. And since these people have refused to work for us, even if we offered them the 10% that they asked for, we might as well just retain it in 10% in security fees for CARE projects, so it doesn't fall on the project owner's shoulders.
Right. Yeah.
So there will be a worldwide security fund now for that. So we have just gotten a lot harder and a lot smarter because we're tired of dealing with this game of people calling people and wasting their time, their brain space, their creativity, their knowledge base, their wisdom base, and their ability to function. You're just wasting their time. They have families, they have jobs. I'm sure they would probably rather take an underwater basket weaving class than take your call. I know I would. So now you're going to pay us. You have stuff. We want stuff. We like stuff. I'm sure the U.S. military has lots of building materials too. And I know that they have a 10-year reserve in oil and gas that they got for free due to sanctions. Yeah. And I know you also have industrial grade diamonds that I could use as well. Those things are used for laser projects and all kinds of things. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you got stuff. You have abandoned military bases that nobody has used in years on U.S. soil. There's stuff. I could use some stuff. Why not? You donated one to Elon Musk and he didn't give you any money. So, hey, I want stuff. I'm open for business. Give me your stuff. Yeah. What do you think, Sonny? You'd like a new car? We need UNN vehicles with our logo on the side.
Yes. And planes.
Right.
We'd like to fly around and do stories. Like
Trillions
visit
of dollars
you
could get you a lot of DEA seized vehicles, can it? Sure can. Yes, it can. Maybe we can even get some cool, like, I don't know, MP vehicles or something like that,
Yeah.
We can give them out to our field messengers and let them go on site.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
That's right. Make them look official. So, yeah. And if their corporations would like money, or their banks would like money, oh, you've got stuff too. You've got real estate on properties, repossessed cars. You've got all kinds of stuff. You repossess stuff every single day for non-payment, more so in the last 3 years than you ever have. Manufacturing equipment. They've got stuff. You need liquidity? I need stuff. Same thing that goes for BlackRock. You've got stuff too.
Oh, yeah.
They've got commodities. They've got all kinds of contracts for commodities and black market commodities and all that kind of stuff. You have stuff too. You need liquidity? I need stuff. Why don't you get it from all those corporate donors, government people? Get me stuff. But you owe us trillions of dollars. So before anybody picks up the phone to talk to you, I highly suggest you get your stuff. Because I can tell you, during my time with a local person that was my alleged handler that is no longer here anymore, I definitely paid out enough during that time. And I'm not saying all local people are created equal or anything like that, but there's a certain percentage of that 2% that needs to be offered on the table. Get yourself some stuff, guys and ladies. So that is the only way I can prevent us, other than getting a 900 number, if they still do those, and charging by the minute for stupid conversations. If you'd like to have a stupid conversation, press 1. If you'd like to whine, moan, and complain, press 2.
Yeah.
If you'd like to engage me as Kimberly's new handler, press 3. And stay on the line. A representative will be with you shortly.
We'll never answer the phone.
Yeah, but stay on as long as possible at $2.99 a minute.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's kind of where we're at with that. As far as the Raymond Reddingtons of the world, the cartels of the world, and the operatives of the world, at the time of this recording, and I tried to wait a little bit to get the information for you as to what was going to happen, But there was a call scheduled for 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in which the operatives were supposed to get information about their big payday that was due to happen today.
Mm-hmm.
That was based on a system restore they thought that would kick in. Remember, Atom AI, and it's going to kick in within 3 days of me cutting off the energy supply to Omega and Kronos to fade out any remaining operating systems on that side. When the system didn't kick in, as expected yesterday, they started to panic a little bit. Now, it's come to my attention that some of the SSP operatives that wanted to own all of the operatives and the deep state under their umbrella, some of them did take markers, as I understand it, from the Raymond Reddington crew. Not all, but some.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, they were busy Bible humping. They were busy thumb humping as well onto a marker and signing it with blood, because that's how markers work.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know what a marker is and you're following this, a marker is when you agree to do something and you're willing to bet your life on it. If you fail, then they will come after you. That's kind of how it works. And either you will end your life or they will end your life, or you will die trying to complete said task. Yeah. That's what a marker is. So everybody is sitting on the phone waiting at this moment in time, still waiting. As far as I know, I haven't seen anybody come to the meeting yet to talk about the next biblical story or other crazy tale, because they don't have any money and they're not coming with money and contracts.
Right.
That I can guarantee you. So we'll see what happens. I do know that there has been a budget put forth, and I won't say to who per se, but there is a budget that has been put forth for the specific people that are making the promises and not delivering. And what I mean by a budget has been put forth, they're not getting any money. No. The contracts to which the budget has been put forth for is actually the elimination of these people.
Oh, it's like a hit list.
Yes. There is a hit list budget. And it's been paid. There is money there.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So there are contracts available for those of you that are watching this that might like to take said contract.
Wow.
But it's not put up by us.
No, I know.
I'm just on the outside looking in. But if there's going to be any hope of people moving forward to do things, it's got to happen. So I won't know, unfortunately, until later on this afternoon if they postpone this call. You know, they get on, they send somebody on and say, you know, it's been rescheduled for 3 o'clock Eastern or something like that, which happens all the time. Or they just don't show up, or they show up and give some crazy story.
Yeah.
So new moon, full moon, you know, just wait. It's a super special full moon or new moon on the 7th, or, you know, they've been talking about trying to do that too. But the natives are pretty restless out there, so I don't know how many people are going to wait for anything they have to say anymore. So, So we'll see. Unfortunately, I won't be able to report that till Monday when I talk to you, because it's playing out right now in real time.
Right.
But it does look like they are very serious about these contracts. So this could be a positive for us. You know, with less of them and more of us, positive movement for us in the care sector, making sure that we've accounted for every detail, at least to the best of our ability, so that we can move forward on our own without an operative, without anybody if need be. Because at this moment, we're not talking to anybody. Nobody's talking to us. So they are. I shouldn't say that. They're calling people in my peripheral looking for a handler to do something. Right. There's been calls about, hey, we're going to transfer money into your account, buddy. This was for Tom Melville. Y'all know who Tom is. And all you need to do is give Kim a call and ask her to clear it for you. We'll pay you. And I'm like, we'll pay you, Tom. You know what that means to me? Absolutely not a gosh darn thing, because we'll pay you every single time you went into Manhattan and went into the Treasury Department over and over and over again and met with the Federal Reserve over and over and over again, and all those meetings on the New Jersey military base over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. So now we've sweetened the deal. I have told Tom and informed Tom, if you would like us to do something for you, then you need to pay us. We expect to have a foreclosed property or something in the amount that you would have normally paid us up front to do something for you. Yeah. Because payment on the come now, sorry, your word is absolutely no good. Mm-hmm. Like no credibility whatsoever. So you're gonna go into your coffers, and maybe you pull up off Staten Island with a submarine titled in the name of Tom Melville. I don't know what you've got planned, but you will do something before we go to other meetings, have conversations, do this ridiculous I want to be a handler thing. Other people I talk to too, and you know who you are if you're listening to this, those people should be doing the same thing. Oh, ridiculous conversation. Where's my Bentley? Where's my Porsche Cayenne? Because, these drug dealers, they don't drive, 1997 Hondas or anything. They are driving in style.
Yeah.
When they seize a property, it's like an island in the Bahamas. So, hey, I could use an island in the Bahamas. How about you, Sonny? That sounds nice.
Yeah, let's do that.
Probably get a nice big house on it, the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Just as long as it's not the Epstein Island one.
Yeah.
But I'm good with any other one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is pretty much where we're at. It's kind of a short world situation report, but everything else is kind of like hanging in the air right now, that I stopped listening to come here. So,
right.
But hopefully it won't take us much longer to finish the algorithms for care to ensure security for you. I don't care about banks or anybody else unless they want to give me bank stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want bonds. I don't want papers. I don't want any of that. I don't care about that. I want something I can drive, live in, give to homeless people, do something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any update, Kim? Last time we spoke, there was a Faraday cage. Basically, I hate using the word cage. That sounds horrible. But you were talking about that, I think, in our last report. Is there an update with that? Because I think it was going to take some time in order to phase out
so
negative.
The last bit of it was put in on, we did part of it on Monday morning and part of it on Tuesday. So that brought us to yesterday and also today. We are seeing very little external interference with inside the system. Mm-hmm. The only thing that I've found, because remember I said we have to make sure there's nothing inside there that could feed it.
Yeah.
So it's not really an external system issue at this moment. There were a few operating systems and rules-based systems that were in there that we spent most of the day yesterday removing and part of this morning. Well, we're installing CARES to take its place. So if there was like a Black Sun security system, for example, for Save the Red Ants, I mean, they went down pretty deep, trust me. We are now going to be responsible for saving the red ants and their security on this planet. So that was pretty much the most momentum part of what we've been finding. The other thing that we found was Earth being in a trust for some of the realm from the owners, the 6 owners. Plant life, there was a trust for virtually every part of life that generates energy on the planet that was not functional. There was no money in it. There was nothing they could do with it, but it was still there, and it was more of a non-human thing, benefit for that. There was also a few fail-safes we found, which would be if energy wasn't being transferred out, it would accumulate into a holding tank, similar to like the way that they would loosh, until it reached the top and it had to let some out. So we made sure that that wasn't the case anymore. little stuff like that. It's just been quantum programming things. There were also some standing orders in there. For example, if somebody created a scenario that was savory to the former owners, that money would come out for said unsavory situation. Think Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse type situations, pestilence and that sort of thing. But the problem is that I actually cut off the operating system years ago that would allow for an automated standing order to pull money from Alpha. So what they got was some numbers on a screen that nobody could touch, nobody could use, in the past. So we needed to make sure that those standing orders weren't still relevant. It could actually stop money from moving all the way through the system. But it doesn't mean that Omega could actually interfere in what's happening in Alpha harmonic genesis anymore.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
So that's your status report on that. We are not seeing holographic anything anymore.
Well, that's good.
Which is positive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's pretty well dead, from what I can tell. We did have a couple of fail safes that were in the Omegaverse. If the Omegaverse, the organ is dying, it's called, in medical science, you would call it like I think it's called an infraction. Infraction, yeah. So it's like an obstruction, like if, for example, if you have a vein or an artery that's obstructed, it doesn't let blood flow to that organ, and it starts to die. The organ itself starts to die, or necrosis or whatever it is how it's used in medical terms. But we did the same thing to dark technologies, any remnants of that. So when it got to a certain critical point, critical mass, we did have a vortex open up in the Orion Nebula, another one in the Regal star system, which was an attempt to try to get some energy in, any kind of blood flow in, to prevent it from actually dying completely, which lasted 5 minutes.
Okay.
There was also another vortex that opened up in the Congo and Bukavu yesterday. That was also closed off. There was nothing to come through it or anything, so that we weren't in danger of that. But it was basically set to make sure that the Omegaverse and any species down there survived when it hit that critical point of infraction.
Yeah.
There we go. I said the word there. My English is getting better, Sunny. That was a new word for me the other day. I'm like, oh, we have an infraction. Okay, what is that?
Did the word pop up like an alpha or something? Or how did you?
It was because it was an operating system.
Okay.
It was a reversal of an infraction is what it was for an operating system for that. So in the event it was dying off, there would be a reversal. That was the hope. But
yeah,
most of the stuff that would have made it function wasn't there. Like I said, a few little things here and there, nothing major, no energy left the planet. So that was good. But yeah, that's pretty much where we're at as far as the dying of the darkness, so to speak.
Can the deep state see any of this, or the Space Force people? Can they, see any of this going down, or no? It's just alien tech kind of stuff.
They knew they were under the impression that the operating system by itself, if it still existed, this was a theory on their part, because they have the I don't know what you want to call it, the People of Worshippers of Death Handbook. I don't know over there. I don't know what you call it, what they're getting their information from. And so if this happens, then this will kick in. So they were expecting a full reversal of the system, not really knowing what that is. But it was just like a instead of a. But they do get very excited when they see a,
Yeah.
But it doesn't last long. It's like a roller coaster of emotions over there.
I bet. Yeah.
So I'm sure they're feverishly looking through their Book of Death, Worshippers of Death handbook over there, and trying to see when the next day or the next event that could take place, so that they can then pass that ridiculous information on to the operatives, along with probably several Bible verses and, you know, maybe some stuff from the Torah too, you know, throw it in there. Maybe they're not all Christian people in the operative section, or, you know, so you should probably throw in some Buddhist quotes. I mean, really up your game a little bit.
Diversify a bit.
Diversify. Be more inclusive of your operative listening audience. You know, maybe some of them are Satan worshipers. You just don't know. You got to get them all in there. No more just, you know, Jesus, Bible. You know, if you are going to, you know, sucker in a bunch of people into believing your crap, you might as well make it more entertaining for them, because nobody's believing you anyway. So you might as well just throw the book at them, or all the books.
Yeah.
How about the atheist books and maybe some Nazi quotes in there? Shake it up a bit, you know?
What have they got to lose? You know?
What do they got to lose, right? Just throw it all out there. Yeah. Anyway. So we'll see what happens on Monday. If something miraculous happens over the weekend, I'll be sure to let you know. I'll jump into the community chat and let you know. But as far as I can tell, this is just going to be another huge disappointment for them. Will they move in another direction? It appears to me the Raymond Reddingtons of the world are going to move into another direction, and they are going to do exactly what they said they were going to do. And I can just leave it at that for right now. So,
okay.
But you can fill in the rest of the pieces yourself from what I've told you.
Yeah.
Impressive people.
Yeah. Very skillful in what they do. So.
That's right.
Yeah. I don't want to be on their bad list.
Me either, as a matter of fact. I'm good over here.
All right. Well, we look forward to Monday. Have a good weekend, Kim.
You too, Sunny.
Want to share news from UNN? Help us change the face of social media and use it for good. Connect with us through our online channels. Our social media team creates clips from each newscast you can easily share with people you care about. That's also where you'll find our UNN meme of the day, a great way to encourage critical thinking. Links to all our social media sites are available at the bottom of our website at unitednetwork.earth. Let's change the face of news together.
That wraps up today's news update. Please share UNN with your friends and family. We need everyone to come together and help restore our planet. When news happens in your area, record and share it with us, so together we can share it with the world. Remember, if it's going to be, it's up to me. I'm Sunny Galt. Join us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for The Real News.